Hello and welcome to the day ahead. It is Friday, August the 26th. I'm Andrew Gagan. Well, global markets gained overnight. Wall Street was lifted by gains in tech-related stocks as investors focus on the Fed Reserve's Jackson Hole conference for clues about the direction of interest rates. The S&P 500 climbing around 1.4%. All 11 S&P 500 sector indexes rose, led by materials and communication services. The Nasdaq put on more than 1.5%. The Dow also closing higher. Shares in Dell fell more than 7% in extended trading after posting its slowest revenue growth in 6 quarters. Nvidia jumped 4% after the graphics chipmaker gave a weaker than expected quarterly forecast that investors interpreted as a sign that the worst of a sales downturn may be over. While Apple, Microsoft, Amazon and Alphabet all rose. And Tesla dipped after its 3-for-1 stock split came into effect. Citigroup climbed after revealing its plans to close its consumer and commercial banking businesses in Russia this quarter. Salesforce continued its sell-off after cutting its annual forecasts. And shares in clothing retailer Gap surged in after-hours trading on strong sales but withdrew its annual forecast as it struggles with inventories. Well, the US economy contracted more moderately than anticipated in the second quarter, easing concerns that it's in recession. Gross domestic product shrank at an annualised rate of 0.6%, having contracted 1.6% in the first quarter. Meanwhile, initial jobless claims fell more than expected, and the Kansas City Federal Reserve Manufacturing Activity Index eased. US Fed Reserve officials remain non-committal about their next move on interest rates. Kansas City Fed President Esther George saying it remains too soon to say whether a half-point or three-quarter-point rate increase would be most appropriate at the September meeting. However, she said the target federal funds rate may ultimately need to exceed 4% to get the desired impact, saying, "I think we'll have to hold. It could be over 4%. I don't think that's out of the question." And St. Louis Fed Reserve President James Bullard saying he expects high inflation to be more persistent than many on Wall Street expect, saying that's going to be higher for longer, and that's a risk that is underpriced in the markets today. Well, US Treasury yields have eased ahead of Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech at Jackson Hole. The 10-year yield falling to 3.03, the 2 years at 3.37%. Major currencies were mixed against the US dollar, the Aussie rising to 69.6 US cents. Well, the local share market is set to open slightly higher this morning, as you can see, up over 0.1%. Global oil prices have fallen on the possibility of sanctions being lifted on Iranian exports. Adding to the weakness is the investor concern that highest interest rates will erode demand. Brent crude sliding close to 2% to under $100 a barrel. Iron ore futures are marginally weaker, while base metal prices are higher, led by copper and nickel, and gold futures are more than 0.5% higher. And there's been little movement in the crypto market as investors await the Jackson Hole meeting. A little quieter on the earnings front today locally, with Ramsay Health Care, Universal Store, Australian Ethical among others reporting. Wesfarmers results have dropped, net profit after tax at 2.35. Full year revenue at $36.8 million and a dividend fully franked of $1 a share. It's expecting FY23 capex of between $1 and $1.25 billion, saying it maintains its long-term focus. And that is your day ahead. We'll see you again on Monday.